Good afternoon, everyone. This is Nate G, and I'm going to do a quick session on how to use the Daily Profits Live site, how to set up your charts for trading the same things that Nate Bear is trading, and just kind of help you get an idea of how things work in here so that um, we can post that, and anybody that has any questions when they first come on board, or if you want to review, this is a great spot for you to do so. So let's start out really quickly with the participants here. I'm going to pull over this chat window that you can see. I have paused it so that you don't get the infinity window here. But what we're watching, what you're looking for here, there's three of us that present in here. Obviously, you know Nate Bear. He is our primary leader, the lead trader in here. And when he's on the mic, his screen obviously looks a little different. But you can see who's on the mic right down here. Right, that's me, giving you my best my best smile. But you'll see Nate Bear there, or you'll see D-Man. And myself and D-Man are two traders that have been trading with Nate Bear for a very long time. And we come on the mic, we post our trades usually in chat, or we say them over the mic. But we don't do the official trades, trade alerts. That's only Nate Bear. So if you like the style that either myself or D-Man trades, you kind of have to either be listening when we're on the mic or find those in chat, because those are not push notifications like Nate Bear's. So that's where you can see who's on the mic. If what you'll see in other cases, if I start this up really quick, let's play that, but turn the sound off. What you'll see that happens sometimes is we'll be streaming, but our mic will be turned off. Nobody will be talking, but we're always streaming a screen. And so what happens when that happens is, as you can see here on the screen, an off mic comes up. Mine sits up here in the upper right. Nate Bears sits down here in this lower corner down here. It's a big one, right? And I believe the way D-Man has it set up is it's a massive one right here on this side. So if you see the screen is streaming, but nobody is actually on the mic, you can't hear anything. If you see this red off mic up here, or anywhere else for anybody that's up, it just means that we're streaming our screen, but we're not on the mic at the moment. Okay. Additionally, if you're having trouble hearing us, or you think that somebody's on the mic and no sound is coming through, right down here you can see the graphic that I'm putting up, right? This turn on sound here. If you go to, let me pause this again. If you come in here, you can turn on, you can make sure that the video is playing, and you can toggle the sound on and off. I'm not going to toggle my sound right now because we would get a crazy echo in here. So that's how to just kind of understand what's happening here on the screen, and fix if you have an audio issue or a sound issue. You can also control the volume here. Plus, you can control the volume on your screen. Sometimes Nate Bear's mic is a little lower than, say, D-Man's mic, who's just a loud individual anyway. I like to think I sit somewhere in the middle, but you guys can all be the judge of that. I'm not sure. But that's how you're going to judge whether one, we're on the mic, and two, which one of us is on the mic with the picture and name down here. Sometimes we'll put in a title as well, but that just gives you that little bit of help. So that's when we're streaming. Now, when we come in and we stream, most times, if we can remember, we make recordings and we post them. And Nate Bear posts all of his recordings down here in this recordings tab here. So if we click that, that takes us through. And you can see yesterday's, or that was that this morning? Is today the 11th? It is, right? Yeah. Yesterday's in the AM. These are all long format videos of his whole trading session, right? For those days. And so I recommend going back and watching those when the market is closed, so you can get just always be learning, right? There's always something to learn in every session. But it's hard to go back and watch these while you're trading. It's easier to be paying attention to the market and watch these on the weekends, on the evenings. Many of us that have been doing this for a long time have spent years studying and trying to perfect our craft. And the only way to do that is by listening to the recordings and when people are on the mic, because that just really helps solidify some of those things that you're trying to learn. There's an FAQ section here, which we're trying to beef up a little bit with some videos. There's some presentations here from D-Man. We have a video on the sniper trade setup. We have a new member welcome video, which I'm doing again as well, just to kind of help out. And a lot of things here that can help answer some of your questions if you have them. And then finally, there's sort of a list of videos here that talk about the TPS system, which I'll talk about here in a minute. How to identify the squeeze, tutorials, butterfly tutorials, which we noticed has cut off short today. So we'll make another one later this afternoon when Nate Bear gets back on the mic. Put credit spread tutorial. You can find information in here that the presenter that's on the mic at the moment might not have time to get into if they're sort of live trading and whatnot. So that's kind of how to navigate the site. Obviously, chat is here. As you can see on the right-hand side, you can add timestamps if you don't already have that by going to the headquarters. And you can put timestamps in there. And if you want to respond to somebody, like Preef thinks I look like a brother of his or hers. I think you said you're a woman, right? Earlier today. So that's one of those names that's a little ambiguous. But you're just gonna go over here. You're gonna hover over it. If I wanted to respond, here. I'm going to respond to Preef, and then I'm going to say, I knew that. Right? And then it gives you a little reply above it. And if somebody can reply to me really quickly, if somebody replies to something that you've written, it'll come up with a blue bar so that it just sort of catches your eye. Right? Anybody? A little help? Just so we can show what it looks like. Everybody's... There you go. See? So if somebody responds to you, you get a nice little blue bar. Lets you know that somebody's responding to something that you've typed in here to chat. And then if you have any questions or need any help, you can go to the mods tab. You can type your question in here, and they will respond to you pretty quickly. If it's something that's billing related, or questions about functionality, or you're having trouble hearing something, you can go here to mods, and they can help try and sort you out. And then, of course, Nate Bear's trades tab. These are the push notifications that go out, and they sit at the top of your chat screen, and for a few minutes, and then they go in here. So if you ever want to go back and find a trade, see if he's closed a trade or if he opened something and you've missed it, they're right there. Okay, so Michael, I am never wrong. I just used that as a good example, right? Timestamps. Yeah, if you want timestamps on here, you just go to your menu bar and you go to headquarters. And then you can turn on timestamps inside headquarters. I'm not going to do that because that takes you into my personal headquarters, but there's just a spot in there to turn on timestamps, so you can kind of go back. And this is a great question. If you have an echo, that means you have two versions of this room open at the same time, generally. If I'm streaming and I have my own voice coming back through my speakers, then that means then you will hear an echo. But if you're hearing an echo on your side and you can't quite find it, that means you probably have two windows open with the stream going, and that's where you're getting the echo. So that J Beth, I'm glad you put that in there because that's a common thing that happens. Right? It's pretty common. Okay, so as I said, Nate Bear posts his videos here in the videos tab. They're up usually every day after he posts, usually maybe an hour after he posts. D-Man and myself, we don't post into these. We both have YouTube channels that we post all of our videos into. So every time we do a live trading, as you can see, those post in. There's obviously some trading concept. This is mine at least. Some trading concepts. If you wanted just a quick video on how to do something or how to understand something, and those all get posted here, usually same day. And Donald Williams gets posted there. He posts all of his videos here. And there's just tons of educational videos, live trading videos, things that you can see that we've done in the room. And just like Nate Bear's videos, if you have the time, I highly recommend sitting there and watching those because there's always something to learn in there somewhere. And generally, if you don't know how to get to those, we have a prompt. You can see, put in Nate GTube and D-Man Tube, and then everybody can have access to those videos. And so mods will usually do that. If somebody asks, where can I find that video? They'll put those in, and then you can just click on that and it'll take you right to one of our videos. We are moving towards getting our videos in here as well, but for now, that's where we're putting everything. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Also, if you're having difficulty, and let's see here, I'm going to move this away. If you're having difficulty with the resolution, or the stream is kind of shorting out, or it's just not quite catching up, you can come in here. Oh, don't do that. I want to play, and then I want to pause it so that you can see what I'm talking about here. Down here, you can mess with the resolution, and that will help if you're auto and it's trying to stream at 1080p and it's just not coming in, or you're it's giving you the swirling beach ball of death. You can come over here and adjust your resolution, and you should be able to stream it a little bit faster. Let's say your connection isn't quite as good, right? So that's it for the streaming and the site itself. Let's talk a little bit about what we look for and how to set things up. Most of the time you'll see Trading View up for either myself or Nate Bear. We use TradingView for our charting. We find it's the best in terms of its usability, its functionality, and it has all the pieces that we need to chart these patterns that we play, which is called a TPS pattern. And we both use TradingView, and D-Man uses TC2000. I don't have an example of that up, but it's very similar in the way it looks and the way it functions, and it's pretty easy to see what he's doing. You don't have to have either one of those, but those are the two best charting platforms, and so that's what you see us using. In my TradingView, I usually have one major chart up. I have the following indicators on my chart. I have the TTM Squeeze Pro. I have a video on how to set these charts up, but if you want to add that, you hit this indicators tab. You go Squeeze Pro. Whoops. SQZ Pro. There, right here. Squeeze Pro indicator by Make It Zero. Okay, that's the one you want to use. You put that on your chart. We don't have to make any changes to that. That drops into the bottom area right there. Okay, I also use two EMAs. I use a 21 and a 34. Okay, the 21 is the white, and the 34 is this orange color. I know Nate uses an 8, a 21, and a 55. So those are different. And then my candle coloring is hollow. You can change that here. I know Nate Bear uses solid candles. This is just a preference either way. Yeah, all you do is change that here. I like the hollow candles because I can see which candles are up and which candles are down just by being hollow and or solid. And this helps sometimes when we go to a chart style like this where we're using a different color candle coloring mode. That still allows me to see which candles are up or which candles are down. If we're using solids, it's much harder to tell because the colors are different. So I use hollow, and we'll get to that. That's a sniper setup. That's a more advanced thing. We'll get to that a little bit later. Okay, within that, hold on, I have to exit a position here really quick. Slight pause. Let's see. Are the ticks doing well? Yeah, we're up above 600. Maybe I want to wait a second. It's hard sometimes when you're in positions and you're on the mic and you want to be smart about how you're managing them because you don't want to miss your exit because you're paying attention to what you're doing. So that being said, I just talked myself into taking those profits because I could get caught up doing something else and miss that exit. Okay, so what we're looking for in general in this room, we do a lot of different styles of trading, but the primary thing we use is Nate Bear's trading system called the TPS, right? This stands for trend, pattern, and squeeze. So what we're looking for in trades that we scan for, and I'll show you what we use to scan for those in a minute, we're looking for a trend, usually an uptrend. We are a long biased room in general. So we're looking for an uptrend, right? We're looking for a pattern, and I chose this eBay because it's in a nice pattern on the 195. It's even pretty good on the daily here. Okay, so we're looking for a pattern that kind of looks like a woodpecker. They don't all look the same, but we come up here, we make a high, we consolidate in sort of a bull pennant or a flag. Sometimes this spike high is a little higher, so you'll get what looks more like a woodpecker, right? Like that. That's the pattern we're looking for, right? So trend was up, right? T, that was up. Do we have the pattern we're looking for? Yes, we have a pattern here, consolidation after a move up, and then the S is squeeze. Okay, so then what we're looking for is down here on this squeeze pro. We are looking for red dots, right? We're looking for red dots, which means the market this name is consolidating and it's getting quiet and it's building up energy for a move. Now we don't know if that move is up or down, but because we're following the trend, we're going to, in most cases, try to play this for a long move up as it moves out of that squeeze. So trend, pattern, squeeze. Those are the things we look for, and we generally play those with calls and or puts if we're going to the downside, right? And so when we call these, we say this is a good setup or this is an A plus setup. So eBay here, we would consider an A plus setup on the daily because we have one extra thing. We have our trend, right, which we just talked about. We have our pattern and we have our squeeze. To make this an A plus setup, we need a momentum shift, right? And the momentum shift is signified. This candle today has to close here kind of above this level, but we're looking for this red momentum histogram to yellow turn. So if we get that yellow turn, we have momentum working back in our favor to the upside. You can see it here, red to yellow. Yes, there was no squeeze, but you see how the pattern works within this histogram, right? So that's our momentum shift. Obviously, this is a daily candle and it hasn't closed just yet, but that makes this an A plus TPS pattern. Okay, so that's what we use for most of our trading, and I'll show you how to scan for that here in a minute. But that's the TPS pattern. And then the other thing that we use very significantly, that's not really a word. The thing we use a lot in here that plays a pretty major factor into how we make decisions in our trading is a thing called volume profile. Okay. Volume profile is this stuff over here. You can see longer lines, shorter lines. On my chart, it's this red and green. On Nate's, it's blue and yellow. On D-Man's, it's red and green, I believe. And you can flip this on the right side, on the left side, but this shows you volume at price levels, which is different. Down here is volume by time, right? Which gives you higher volume within that particular candle, that time frame, which is definitely helpful. But volume by price over here helps us find support and resistance levels. When there's a large node like this that sticks out quite a ways, if we put a line there, whoops, that's not the line device. If we put a line there and we know how to understand what that means, right? That means a lot of people have been trading, as you can see by the chart, in this area, right? So if price comes down to there, it's most likely going to find support in that area. Conversely, if we're trading below it and we're coming up to that area, it's probably going to find some resistance. And then we use those lines as over-under lines to understand whether the trade is moving in a bullish direction and is above that line, or is it a bearish direction and below that line. So for instance, if we're looking at our eBay setup, excuse me, and this is a little bit more advanced, and we come down to a 15-minute time frame, we can see all this trading activity, right? Within this consolidation pattern that we're looking at, and we know that this red line is our over-under line. We call that a point of control. Okay, that's a point of control. And as you can see, we've moved up and then come back into this point of control area, and we're staying above it and using it as a support level at the moment. And that helps inform our trade as well, because really our goals, if we put a high and a low on this chart, just kind of based on what the chart is showing us, right? We would prefer to buy off support and sell into resistance. And if you're using the point of control line, you can buy off support and sell into resistance. That's the general idea. So that is a sort of a quick overview on volume profile. So for us in this room, we use a combination of TPS, Nate's trading system, right? TPS and volume profile to help inform those trades. And if you're looking to put volume profile on your charts, you type in VRVP, visual range, volume profile right here. And you can put that on your charts. You can move it over to the left-hand side or the right-hand side. You can make it smaller. There's just a lot of different things that you can change within here. Placement here on the left, you can change the colors. You can change your row size to something smaller. The number's bigger, but the row size is smaller. So and then you can get it to look like ours, or you can just ask us to share our chart our chart setup with you, and that's as easy as just posting a link here in chat. Okay, so those are the primary things that we trade using is TPS and volume profile. Okay, generally when we're taking trades within sorry, I'm writing something down that I want to add. Generally, when we're taking trades, we are buying or selling calls, and or puts if we're wanting the name to go down. But for those of you who do not know calls or puts, let me see if I can show you what that looks like. Let's detach that. Good. Okay. So let's just look at eBay, since we're doing that. These are what option chains look like. All right. So there's a couple of things that we need to understand when we're buying or selling an option. We have strike prices, right? We have strike prices here. These are oops, I need my drawing tool. These are our strike prices. Okay. This is our expiration date here. You can also see that up here in the corner, and this is Thinkorswim. Everyone's going to look different, but what you'll see on most option chains is on this right hand side are the calls, and on this left hand side are the puts. If we're buying a call, we are expecting and wanting to capture a move to the upside. If we are buying a put, we are trying to capture a move to the downside. Okay, each option, if you buy the $52, let's do the $51 strikes, are about $1, as you can see that if we're buying the calls. Okay, so if we buy one of these contracts, it's going to cost us roughly $100, probably $103 if you go to the middle, because here's your bid and here's your ask. Okay, so even though it says $1 here, that's the per share price. Any contract, any single option contract is the equivalent of 100 shares. So by buying that option contract, you are controlling 100 shares. All right, but there's some caveats to that. You're controlling 100 shares, but you're only controlling a certain percentage of those shares as it moves up or down. So in this case on eBay, we have 1 day till expiration because today is Thursday. Options generally expire on Friday unless you have same day option expirations. This is the April 12th. Today's April 11th. So these expire tomorrow, right? At the end of the trading day. So here's the April 19th, right? Those expire in 8 days. As you can see, the $51 are a little bit more expensive, but you have more time. Okay? The $51 expiring April 26th are even more expensive. Right? So when you buy yourself time, the cost per option contract goes up. Conversely, when you are buying very short dated options, a lot of times we'll call these lottos, right? If you're buying a short dated expiration and trying to capture a move, a quick move, and we call that a lotto, and generally we would say only invest what you're willing to lose. Okay, so that's the term. You'll hear us say lotto, right? Nate Bear says it a lot. Lotto just means same day or same week expirations. We're not taking our full account risk, and we're hoping for a quick move because of the lower price. But what you have to factor in with options is your delta, right? Your delta is the percent of the move that is going to go in the same direction. So if let's move down one, because let's move down to next week's. If I'm buying a 52 delta right here, if I'm buying the 52s that have a 52 delta, for every dollar move in eBay, I'm going to get 52 cents of that move. This option contract is going to move 50 cents, right? So if I buy more in the money, we call this darker area is in the money, this is out of the money. Same on the puts, in the money, out of the money, right? If we buy the 71s that are in the money, then, the 51s at a 71 delta, then we're going to get 71 cents per dollar move of the underlying eBay at 51, roughly $52. Okay? So when we buy an option or we buy a put, those are the directions we're looking for. So when Nate Bear gives an alert that he's buying the April 26th, let's actually look at a trade alert that he put in here today so you can see what we're looking at. So bringing in, excuse the infinite, hold on, let me get rid of the infinite screen of death. All right, so under the trades tab, Nate Bear, let's find an opening. So yesterday, Nate Bear opened AMAT, right? He opened a swing on AMAT. BTO means bought to open. Okay. 3 AMAT calls at 419. So the expiration is 419. The strike price is 215, and he paid $2.68. We won't get that same price, but I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so that's his alert. Let me see if I can put that in. Let's see here. So if I go, sorry about this, I've never done this with text before. So let's see if I can pull this off. Nope, I can't. So what I'll do here is I'll move this. Whoops. I'll move his alert over here. I've highlighted it, and now I'm going to bring my option chain over. Okay. So with our option chain, He bought to open AMAT, so I have to make sure we're on AMAT. Okay. He bought the 419s. That's April 19th. That's right here. He bought the 419 $215 calls. That's this strike price right here. Okay, April 19th, 215. They're a little out of the money. And he paid 268. We're pretty close to that. Where bid is 269, ask is 279. So you could probably get these for 274, 275, $2.75. So we're pretty close to the price that he got them. Okay, so that's what that means. So we would buy these calls if we were copying this. He bought 3. Okay, so that means he's paying about $750, about $800 in this in this particular trade. Now, if that doesn't fit your risk parameters or your trade style, you can buy 1. You can buy 2. You could buy 5 if you want to have a bigger lot than he did. And as you can see later today, he bought 3 more at 47 cents when it was way down. Okay, so he's brought those back up, and he's probably in profit right now. That trade is probably green. Okay, so you see he bought the 412s. So he must have had 412s prior. So you see this ad here on the side, bought 3 AMAT at 412 415s. Okay, so he also has a secondary position expiring tomorrow. That's more of a lotto, right? So you'll see Riley here, lottos. So if we go to Riley, he bought 5 Rileys. He bought the 412, $24. So 412, $24. He bought them for 35 cents, so he's in the green at the moment. He bought 5 of these calls here. Okay, and that's a lotto. And so you have to understand that expires end of the trading day tomorrow. So the hope is that moves very quickly. Okay, and the same conversely happens with puts if we want something to go down, but we are primarily a long biased room in the trades that we take. So that at least helps you understand the alerts that come in. He usually puts a little bit of text in here to what he's looking for and what his thought process is on that trade. And sometimes they're a lotto, and other times they're a longer swing. This is an AMAT swing, right? Which means we have until the following Friday for that to happen. And then also a Riley lotto means we have 24 hours or so for that to happen. Exits are the same thing. So we're closing half of our Amazon butterfly here. It tells you why we're closing it, and etc. So that's how those alerts work. And as I said, D-Man and myself don't do that, and we put them in here in the chat and or say them over the mic if we can. Lottos are much more risky, right? They have a lot of additional risk in them. And then finally, we have a tool here that we use that you can get, which is called SAM. And SAM helps us find trades that are in a squeeze. Remember, we talked about trend, a pattern, and a squeeze. This is a device that Nate and the crew created that will scan the S&P 500, the NASDAQ, and the indices, and it will help us find trades on different time frames. Okay, so you can see over here, if you already have this, then you kind of know how it works. There's a couple of videos on how this device works, but those are your time frames there, right? Obviously, your names are over here. Nate Bear, myself, and D-Man each have our own sort of private watch list of names that we are keeping an eye on. And you can search for names that have squeezes in different time frames, and that's the one thing you'll hear us say. As you can see up here, the time frames we usually use are 5, 10, 15, 30, 65, 78, 130, 195, and daily. And you can put those on your chart specifically, so they're easy to toggle between. And you can also scan for them using SAM. All right. If you need to know how to get SAM, just reach out in the mods tab, and the mods will help you find that. But so for instance, if we're looking for, I love a 30-minute squeeze, I can just as easily go here and click this 30-minute squeeze, and it'll sort by 30-minute squeezes for me. And then I can see how many dots per squeeze. It notifies us when we're in an A plus squeeze on a TPS pattern, which I spoke about before. And then you can find names that are in multi A plus squeezes. And we tend to look for that quite a bit, because that means there's a lot of energy being built up, right, over the 10-minute, 15-minute, and 30-minute time frames here on ISRG. And that's something we want to look at to see if it's a trade we want to take, see if it fits our trend pattern squeeze. The other thing we can also use is the squeeze up if we're looking for a long trade. And if we sort by that, we can sort by, this has 7 squeezes, this has 6, and we can see them across the board. So AMAT, which we were just talking about, right, has a 195, a 130, a 78, and a 1 hour, excuse me, all A plus squeezes ready to go. So does eBay, which we've been looking at as well. So when you get these nested squeezes all in A plus, that's a great thing, right? We've got it here on CEG, right? And then we've got it here on BSX. This helps sort those so that we can say, okay, these are ones I want to take a look at. We've looked at AMAT, we've looked at eBay. We would definitely want to take a look at CEG and BEX. And you can do this for all different types of names, right? You can even come in and say, oh, I wonder if, Tesla has any squeezes, right? And it'll just short for Tesla, and it does not. Oh, it has a daily down, but no A pluses. So this is a pretty good tool for us to scan and quickly find squeezes in the market, right? Some of them overlap. Let's see if there's anything in my private watch list that looks good. AMAT, Microsoft looks good. TTD, yeah, somebody just typed that into chat, right? TTD is looking great. I know Nate Bear was looking at that today. And then we can just run this scan and then come over here and say, all right, well, it looked like TTD was looking pretty good on some of these higher time frames. So let's look at a 195. Okay, we can see that we have a little bit of a pattern here after we had a breakdown. We've got a slight trend going up. We've got a spike high sort of pattern forming here, right? And we are in a squeeze, and starting rounding momentum. That's an A plus setup. That's something we want to get into, right? So then, of course, we come in and say, all right, is it in a spot? Is it in a spot where we could get into it here and have a good risk reward, right? Risk reward is really important. You want to have your support and resistance levels. I would say this looks great, but I would really love to get into it a lot lower, right? It's feeling a little extended. It just on the day, right? It just pushed new highs on the day. I would want it to come back in and give us another entry spot, maybe along this yellow line at 86.69. And then we make trade decisions, and a lot of times we'll put in alerts or buy it right there, and that's where you get those trade alerts. So that's how to use the Daily Profits Live site, the things we're looking for in trade setups, and the tools that we use to make those trades, and then the scanning is the tools we use to help find those trades. While I've got you here, before I shut off the recording and post this up, is there anybody that has any questions on how to use the site, how to navigate it, the things that we're looking for, things like that? We don't need to go through looking at charts or talking about trades that we might be in as a group. I'm looking to see if I missed anything on the tutorial for how to use the site and how to get newbies up to speed as fast as possible. Rando, you were asking about how to reply to a chat. I'm going to just reply to yours. I highlight yours, as you can see on the screen. I get a little arrow, and then I just reply. Okay. Other questions are how to draw support and resistance lines. It depends on the platform you're using. You can use these trend lines. You can use array. You just come in here and you pick a trend line like I did there, right? If you're using TradingView, and you just draw a start point, right, and an end point. If you want to draw a straight line, horizontal line, you come in here, you put your cursor where you want it, and you just click that button. And then you can change colors if you like. That's usually what I do. Yeah, we could the time frame charts. So that's a great question. So as I mentioned, we use the 5 minute all the way up into the daily, 5, 10, 15, 30. I use a 65-minute chart, which is a little different, right? Because that gives me exactly the right amount of per day candles. Okay, so some people use an hourly. I use a 65. The 78 is also an exact number of per day candles. The 130, same, 195. And as we look at these squeezes, right, if we're playing a 130-minute squeeze, right, that's going to usually takes, once it starts to work, if it works, we're going to want to go out. If we like something on a 130-minute squeeze, you're probably going to want to give that at least 2 weeks till expiration, right? Oops, if I could just draw a little bit better, because you need it to give it time for it to work. Okay. However, if you're taking a trade on the 5 minute, you see something on the 5 minute you like, you can go to that week, most likely, right? Or same day options, because that's most likely going to resolve itself within the next 30 to 40 minutes. So if we're on a daily, I recommend going out 3 to 4 weeks on the option contracts, right? A 78 minute, maybe 2 weeks. 65, 78, maybe 2 weeks. When in doubt, always go further out. You're going to pay more, but you're not going to get chewed up on theta. I can do a chart setup. I've done a chart setup version. We can do that later. I don't want to get too specific to TradingView because not everybody's going to have TradingView. This is more how to navigate the site and the things that we do here in this room. Okay, if that's it, I will jump off. I will save this. I will post it for anybody new, and see you all in chat. I'm definitely trading today, but I just wanted to get this video finished.